Hey Jayhawks, welcome back to this week's episode of Run It Back. I'm your host, Jamison Mangold. As always, KU is coming off a sports-packed week. We're here to cover it all, and the pro world has been just as eventful. Our football team fought hard this past weekend against a tough Cincinnati team. I'm sure they'll be back and better next week. Heading into this show, we'll be looking into football's game ahead, some KU rivalry action, and even an update on our sad news surrounding KU relays. In the pro world, we're heading over to the NFL and UFC, and updates on the Ryder Cup. Finally, stick around and you might even see our very own crew show off their athletic abilities. All this right now on Run It Back. After a close game at home last weekend, KU football will not be stopped. They're heading to get their tan on in the sunny state of Florida this weekend. Jimmy will be talking about what's to come and their matchup against UCF. Then, from the field to the court, Gabby is back with the Lady Hawks, who took on two tough Arizona teams last weekend and is ready to kill even more matches. Some devastating news recently surrounding the annual KU relays, which occur in the spring for track and field. Anthony will be talking more on that very shortly. And our women's soccer team is having a great start and only looking to get better. Alex has the rundown. I've said it before and I'll say it again, purple is not a flattering color and a Jayhawk mascot is way cooler than a cat. Mia is diving into the rivalry between KU and K-State as Sunflower showdowns for all teams are coming up very soon. Stay tuned for that. First, let's head to Jimmy on the football field.
Thank you, Jameson. Well, it's a bounce-back week for the Kansas Jayhawks. After a tough home loss to Cincinnati, KU heads down south to Orlando for a Saturday night showdown against the UCF Knights at Acrisure Bounce House. Now, last week's game against the Bearcats was really a tale of two sides for Kansas. Offensively, the Jayhawks put up some eye-popping numbers. Quarterback Jalen Daniels led up the air, throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdown passes. His main connection, Emmanuel Henderson, who put up together a monster game with more than 200 receiving yards. That kind of firepower just shows how dangerous this KU offense can be when it's clicking. Now, you're probably wondering, how does a team lose when they're putting up over 500 yards of offense? And that's because the Kansas allowed over 500 total yards to Cincinnati, and more than 200 of those came on the ground. This is also the second time this season the Kansas defense has given up over 500 yards to an opponent. Ultimately, that inability to slow down the run game ultimately proved costly, and it's something that the Jayhawks know they have to tighten up before heading to Orlando. And speaking of Orlando, UCF finds itself in a pretty similar situation. The Knights are also coming off a loss. They came on the road against the Kansas State Wildcats last week. And speaking of Orlando, UCF finds itself in a pretty similar situation. The Knights are also coming off a loss. They came on the road against Kansas State in Manhattan last week. Just like KU, they're looking to regroup and grab some momentum as the conference schedule heats up playing at home under the lights. You know they'll be bringing the energy. So really, this matchup sets up as two teams that are hungry for redemption. Kansas is trying to bounce back after a tough one in Lawrence, and UCF is trying to defend its home turf after falling short in Manhattan. With two explosive offenses on the field, it could turn into a high-scoring battle, and whichever defense steps up may end up being the difference. Kickoff is Saturday night at 6:30 Central from Acrisure Bounce House in Orlando. And it's Kansas and UCF both looking to get back on track. I'm Jimmy Ananiri, and that's your look at KU football.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'm hoping for a Kansas win this weekend. A ton of volleyball has been played, that's for sure. The ladies were back home for 2 sold-out games against Arizona State on Friday and Arizona on Sunday. They are now getting ready for their second game in Texas tonight against Baylor. Arizona State was a tough matchup to start the weekend off. 5 sets were played, and the Hawks fell short with Arizona taking the lead with a 3-2 win. Jovana Zelenovic helped bring the 28-28 score to 28-29 in match 1, followed by a service ace that led Kansas to win set 1. The second set was a constant battle, though. The Sun Devils kept up with the Hawks, and Arizona's Bailey Miller ended set 2 with a kill. The competitiveness of these two teams increased. Set 3, the Hawks came up on top, But that didn't stop the Sun Devils as they took the lead in set 4. Set 5, the Hawks weren't able to keep up with Arizona State. In the end, Arizona finished 15-11, and Joanna Zelinovic and Grace Nelson were standout hitters for Friday night's game despite the loss. Zelinovic ended with 18 kills and Nelson ended with 12. With Friday's game behind them, Sunday they were back to take on Arizona, and a great game of volleyball was played. In 3 sets, they were able to win. Joanna Zelinovic and Grace Nelson were standout hitters again during this game after a long 5-set game on Friday. They then traveled to TCU for Wednesday's game, but with a tough competition, fell short and ended this game with TCU on top with a 3-1 win. Tonight, they'll wrap up their time in Texas as they take on Baylor at 7. But if you missed the women here in Lawrence, no worries, they'll be back on Wednesday to take on Texas Tech and Friday against Iowa State. That's a wrap for volleyball talk for today. And now let's welcome Anthony for his first segment of the year on Run It Back.
Thanks, Gabby, for that warm welcome and that amazing KU volleyball recap from this weekend. But now, let's take it outdoors to the track. I know what you might be thinking. Anthony, isn't it a little early for track season news? And you're right. But recently, it was announced that a century-long tradition, 102 years to be exact. That's crazy. The Kansas Relays here in Lawrence has been canceled this year due to renovations and programs trying to find financial footing once again. Hey, football, if you want to send some of that money over track's way. I know for me, this comes as a big shocker because going to school in Missouri, this was a big event that high school athletes look forward to each year. The KU Relays were more than just a competitive showcase for collegiate athletes, but also a platform for high school athletes from Missouri, Kansas, and surrounding states to show off their hard work, competitiveness, and grit to not only their competition, but to also future scouts in the crowd, and the crowd who traveled to watch these athletes compete. Although this is only a temporary pause for the KU Relays, this isn't the first time they've canceled, no. Back in 1998 and 1999, also due to renovations, and more recently from 2020, 2022, due to COVID around 6 years ago. I'm not sure about you guys, but I definitely believe the relay is going to come back better than ever. Some of that money from football, I'm just saying, and even more competitive spirits because of the break. Athletes and coaches aren't the only ones who are already ready for the relays to come back, but also you guys as fans, I bet. To be able to watch and enjoy the athletes put their all into this amazing sport we call track and field. Well, that's all for me today. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm just joking, you guys. Now I'll pass you guys over to Alex with KU Soccer.
The KU Relays will be missed this year, but don't get too disappointed because we had a Sunflower Showdown game last night, and let's just say the Wildcats never stood a chance. Kansas bounced back with an offensive frenzy to defeat Kansas State 4-1 in the Dillon's Sunflower Showdown on Thursday evening at Rock Chalk Park. The crowd of 2,402, the second largest in school history, saw Becca Smith shine with her first 2 career goals, while Jillian Grogowski and Livy Moore each found the back of the net to add to the celebration. The Jayhawks fell behind early, allowing a Wildcat goal in the 8th minute, but they quickly settled in and took control. Grogowski stepped up and converted a penalty kick in the 32nd minute to level the score. And just before halftime, Smith put Kansas on top with the first goal of her career. The second half was all Jayhawks. Sage Wines broke free down the side and delivered a perfect pass that set up Moore for a tap-in finish in the 67th minute. Then, only 8 minutes later, Smith capped off her breakout night with a second goal in the 75th, putting the game out of reach and locking in the rivalry win. The performance not only highlighted Smith's arrival on the scene, but also gave Kansas a surge of momentum heading into the rest of the conference slate. The Jayhawks improved to 8-2 on the year and 2-2 in the Big 12 play, showing their ability to respond to adversity and take command in front of a fired-up home crowd. The game definitely fired us up for all the upcoming Sunflower Showdown. Now, what makes the Sunflower Showdown so special? Mia's here to talk about all things Sunflower Showdown.
Thanks, Alex, for the Sunflower update, but the showdown doesn't end quite yet with last night's win. Don't stop celebrating yet because the Jayhawks will have the chance to play K-State in volleyball, football, and a baseball scrimmage all over the same weekend of October 24th. The Sunflower Showdown is the long-standing athletic rivalry between KU and K-State dating back to 1902 when KU played the first football game against K-State. And in 2025, the name still surrounds several events that will consume the thoughts of every Kansas native. You may be wondering why they call it the Sunflower Showdown, and although it refers to the rivalry, the name is derived from Kansas' state nickname, the Sunflower State. Kansas is in the lead for basketball historically with an overall record of 206-96 as of last year, which is the most victories by one school over another in D1 men's basketball history. Kansas volleyball will take on Kansas State on October 24th with another chance to defeat K-State, this time in Allen Fieldhouse. K-State once held a commanding lead, including a 21 winning streak from 1995 to 2005, but the tide has turned. Kansas has now won 8 consecutive matches in the series, including a 3-2 victory earlier this season in the Big 12 opener. Now, that's all for the Showdown Lowdown, but Jayhawk Nation, prepare for what's next on October 24th because we have another chance to claim our state. Stay tuned for more sports after the break.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
I love Thursday nights almost as much as I love Friday mornings. One of the reasons being Thursday night football. It's a fun snippet to Sundays, and Patrick's will be telling all on last night's game. And finally, Sam, our MMA man, is back with some UFC updates. Now we're heading to you, Patrick.
Thank you, Jameson. Last night's game between the Rams and 49ers was a shocker to say the least. The Rams started the game as 8.5-point favorites due to the 49ers having injuries to some of their most important players on offense. Mac Jones stepped into the starting quarterback role following a Brock Purdy injury, which may have been a good thing. The game started out with 2 touchdowns going the 49ers' way. The George Kittle replacement, Jake Tonges, found the end zone once again, and of course Christian McCaffrey with a touchdown catch. The 49ers offense found so much success in the passing game due to the Rams not being able to generate any pressure on the defensive side of the ball at all. All these clean pockets for Mac Jones let him settle in early, and Kendrick Bourne racked up 10 catches for 142 yards. The Rams offense took a while to get going, finally finding the end zone with a Kyren Williams touchdown. The 49ers added 2 more field goals to make it 20-7, and it was only a matter of time before Sean McVay fired up one of the best offenses in all of football. Stafford found Puka on a quick pass that you pray for if you have them on your fantasy team, and shortly after that, Kyren Williams stomped into the end zone once again, but in a huge momentum shift, the 49ers blocked the extra point to keep it tied. Kicker Eddie Pinheiro was claimed off waivers just a few weeks ago and came out and drilled a 59-yard field goal to put the Niners in front. And in the most important play of the game, Alfred Collins executes the perfect punch-out to make Kyren Williams fumble on the 1-yard line, and the Rams end up kicking a field goal to force OT. The Niners start off overtime with a field goal, forcing the Rams into a do-or-die spot, and on 4th and 1, Kyren Williams gets stuffed, and the 49ers prevail on a road upset. Let's talk some UFC.
Thank you. Welcome to October Double Gold on the line on the Vegas Strip. UFC 320 is tomorrow night. Ankalaev Pereira 2, the headliner for this year's 10th pay-per-view. They met in March at 313, a night that saw the belt draped in the Russian flag. Magomed Ankalaev crowned by decision that night. They meet again, same spot, roles reversed, same belt up for grabs. The 33-year-old Russian Ankalaev defends his belt for the first time and does so on a 13-fight win streak consisting of 6 finishes. In his last 5, he's produced 4 unique results, back-to-back decision wins, a TKO, a draw, and a no contest. He may not be a fan favorite, but to bettors, he is the one to trust tomorrow night. Poatan, a long-established feared striker on the planet, his prime unmatched, but seemingly since his defeat months ago, that resume and mystique has slipped some minds. Pereira has won 9 of his 10 first UFC fights. His display of absurd power from 2023 to 2024 cut down the division's top warriors. But now for the first time since his debut at 205, Pereira enters fight night off a loss, and that first clash, although close, felt worse than what the scorecards reflected. The positives, though, all 3 judges had him winning round 1, and according to Alex, he fought at 40%, and he believes getting to even 50 tomorrow night could leave no doubt. Ultimately, tomorrow night may very well act as a painful injection of truth serum for fans of Poatan. Big Ank, bred to be a world champ, is eager to prove himself as truly just a lopsided matchup for one of Brazil's greats. Google Translate assisted trash talk and the understanding of what this means for each of their legacies has built up some gut-churning tension. Before Ank and Alex, the light shine for Merab and Sandhagen, the bantamweight belt being put on the line for a third time this year by Georgia's Merab Dvalishvili. He mauled Sugar Sean at last year's Noche UFC in the Vegas Sphere, and Umar came around and lost a grappling gala in January, and then in June O'Malley returned just to fold quietly again. That leaves who as a worthy challenger? Well, Corey Sandhagen. The Denver native has won 4 of his last 5. He last fought in May and collected a round 2 TKO at the first ever UFC event in Iowa. This is a clash of 2 incredible motors, both fighters capable of sustaining sharp work deep into fights, but Merab's next level torrid pace is a concern for any challenger, and rightfully for some writes off Sandhagen. The machine is a strong betting favorite. Possibly the best bout tomorrow, however, former champ Yuri Prochazka and Khalil Rountree in a 2v4 clash at light heavyweight to set off more seismic shifting in the top 10 there. Last weekend we saw Carlos Olberg in Perth plunge Dominic Reyes back to the darkness from which he rose. The Kiwi is coming for a title shot, and those 2 sets of hands throwing tomorrow night also believe it is their destiny to scrap for gold. Interesting to see what fights come out of this weekend, but one thing's for sure, Prochazka Rountree will be an absolute cannot miss war. The main card begins at 9 Central. Quick break, and on the other side, Caden's got a look into KU Esports.
3 days later.
Physical sports aren't all we offer here at KU, and you might be wondering how sports wouldn't be physical. Well, esports is emerging and building more and more each year, and these guys aren't here to play. Caden is looking into all that our team has been up to. And MLB is getting closer and closer to the end of the season with someone coming out on top in the World Series. Our roundtable is back and honing in on the MLB playoffs. And while I'm probably a better singer than athlete, I dabble. So me, Mia, Alex, and Anthony took on some mini golf. We'll see how that went soon. But first, let's see what Caden has to say about esports.
In the Student Union, the Kansas Varsity Esports Rocket League team is just kicking off their season against their very first opponent, Nebraska. Kansas felt this best-of-5 series was theirs to lose, and on the pixelated pitch, they showed it, winning the series 3-1 and starting off their season in the win column.
I was feeling pretty confident overall. I think we just had, rank-wise, when you look in the game, we had a higher ranked team going into it.
Kansas freshman Meave was a revelation on the night, finishing as MVP of the match in all the games but one and leading the Jayhawks in every major stat: goals, assists, save, and shots on goal. The Jayhawks' game plan was evident from the start: play fast, play aggressively, and control the ball. This strategy led to Kansas taking the first 2 matches with relative ease by scores of 5-1 and 3-1 respectively. Up 2-0 in the series, the third game was a humbling one for the Jayhawks. Despite scoring 3 goals in the match, 1 from each Kansas player, they would go on to lose 3-5. As even they would tell you, things got a little too relaxed.
Yeah, I was playing more ball chasing, not really using my brain because, I don't know, we were just cooking them the first 2 games, so we had to lock back in, so we didn't lose this game 4.
And locked in they were, as Mies flipped a switch in the 4th match, scoring 2 quick goals in the first 45 seconds, only for the Cornhuskers to match by strikes of their own in the last minute. Still, Meaves and Alpaca would play hero, setting up the Jayhawks to score the series-winning goal in the last 25 seconds.
The Jayhawks' next matchup is against the Baylor Bears on Monday, October 6th at 7 p.m. For RunitBack, Caden Baird.
Welcome back, Caden. From Rocket League to Major League, we're live from Lawrence, Kansas, and we got the MLB Roundtable with Emil, Jimmy, and Caden. And we got some exciting matchups here in October, including some in-divisional rivalries and more. Up first, we go to Philadelphia, where we're going to see the NL East champs, the Philadelphia Phillies take on the defending World Series champs Los Angeles Dodgers. Kaden, what do you see in this matchup?
Look, as I bet on them for the past couple years to win it all, my FanDuel account would love to see them win this. But I just do not believe in them this year. They've failed me the past couple years. Zach Wheeler is out due to the sickness. I just don't see them doing this against a Dodgers team that is defending champions. They got a little bit better. I know they've had some injuries. I just don't see it. It's going 5, but Dodgers going to win this one. Jimmy?
I got the Phillies actually this time. I think they're really going to do it this time. They can beat the Dodgers. I know the Dodgers are coming off a really good win against the Reds, but give me the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Kaden. I think that Dodgers have too much firepower in pitching and hitting, especially with Shote pitching. Give me Dodgers in 6. From one divisional winner to another, we're going to look at the Seattle Mariners as they take on the Detroit Tigers. 2 feisty teams looking to put on a good postseason performance. Kaden, what do you think of the matchup?
Well, this is my favorite matchup of the entire round. Honestly, you have Cal Raleigh, Tariq Schoolball. I'm tuning in just for that, honestly. But my swing vote would be just looking at this Mariners team. Best team in baseball from like the last 2 months. Hottest team in baseball. The moves that they made at the trade deadline, they're really paying off now. They're hitting the long ball better than anybody else. Unless you have Schoolball, pitching every single inning, I don't see them holding off this team the entire way. Honestly, Mariners with the sweep. I think, I love Schoolball, best pitcher in baseball, but they're sweeping them. Jimmy?
I got the Tigers. I had the Tigers going all the way to the World Series, so I got to stick with them so far. They look pretty good against the Guardians. It was a little bit close in Game 2 and 3, but actually, the Tigers kind of ran away with it in Game 3, but,
Yeah, as much as the Mariners did, I think today is a pitching game, and I think Schoolball is a great pitcher, but I think they also have other pitchers that are also great. I think that they're just going to be a little too much for Seattle, even though they have such a hot offense. I'm going to have the Tigers in 7. From Detroit to Milwaukee, we're going to travel on I-95, where we're going to see the Chicago Cubs take on the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll be an entertaining matchup. Kaden, thoughts?
The Brewers are the best team in baseball. They won the most games, right? That makes sense, right? They looked unbeatable for long stretches, but something just nagging about the Chicago team. PCA looks like a superstar. The center, or the catcher, Carson Kelly, was dominating the Padres. Probably the best catcher in baseball right now, at least in the playoffs, I would say.
I would agree.
Something just screams upset to me. I don't know. It's just nagging at me. So Cubs in 5 in this one.
I'm going to go with the Brewers. They won the division. My girlfriend actually told me I should bet on the Cubs. I've lost enough money in FanDuel this last month, so I'm going to go with the Brewers.
Guys, this is a perfect battle. It's a movable object versus stoppable force. Neither team will hit. Neither team's going to have good pitching. Both teams are going to shoot themselves in the foot. Neither are going to play to win. And one team's still going to win. The Cubs are going to get Horton back in this series if they go to 5. And you all know how I feel about Caden Horton. And I'm gonna have to say the guy who's better than Skeens is going to put the Cubs over the edge, and I'm going to have the Cubs going to the pennant. Well, we got one more matchup in the MLB, Yankees versus Blue Jays. Kaden, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going Blue Jays in this one, only simply because Aaron Judge is the Lamar Jackson of baseball. He's fantastic in the regular season. He puts up insane numbers that everyone's just you just can't believe. But then it comes postseason and he just disappears. He looks like a 50-year-old man playing t-ball with drunk goggles. I mean, you absolutely cannot find the ball. He's, swinging at everything. So, Toronto 3-1.
I got Blue Jays in 7. I know Stanton didn't play very good in the last series against the Red Sox, but I feel like for some reason he's going to go off a little bit against the Blue Jays. But I'm still going to take the Blue Jays in 7.
Yeah, I got the Blue Jays winning. I honestly think that Andre Kirko, he's going to get his second career stolen base, and I think that he's going to get his first postseason stolen base. Well, that's all we have for the postseason, and back to Mia.
Hi guys! In honor of the Ryder Cup last week, we're here to test our golf skills.
Today we're on Mastery at Sinkers playing putt-putt.
Let's get it.
All right, I have a good feeling about this one.
Ayo. I think that's good. I don't know.
Ayo.
Boom, boom. All right.
I think
Time to watch the pro.
We're on to hole number 2. This looks really
par 2, but this is going to be like par 0 for me.
Good one.
One day, guys. Oh. Okay, this is it. Oh. Boom.
Alex is going to go.
All right, let's roll. Hole-in-one incoming.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Woo! Hey! Okay. Perfect. Hole 3. Let's get it.
Boo.
I'm the best one here.
All right, Mia decided to go the easy shot that way. I think I'm going the hard way, like
Whatever.
a good golfer would.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Hey!
She got lucky.
All right, time to show them all up. I'm going through both the holes, one shot. Let's go. Oh.
Oh, you know, take 3, take 4. Keep going, keep going.
I used to play golf too.
I would never
I swear.
guess.
I swear.
For gold.
Hole 4. Show them what you're made of. Oh my. Is it good? I told you I was walking. That was really good.
That was awesome.
Na 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 na. Hey, hey.
I got a lot to live up to after that.
Put me against DeChambeau. I'm ready for the Masters.
All right, guys, after totaling up the scores, looks like the winner is, drum roll please,
Looks like we're gonna have to do a rematch soon.
Check out KU Golf to see the actual pros, though. Bye.
Bye.
No surprise there by all our golf skills. Hopefully you enjoyed all our missed putts. That's all we have this week, Jayhawks. We'll see you next time with even more KU sports updates and game previews, pro sports, and even us taking on sports ourselves. We're live 10 a.m. on Fridays and 2:30 on Mondays. Check out Playmakers following us at 12 on Fridays, and Heartland Huddle is live at 6 p.m. on Mondays to give you all the sports rundowns. KUJH has regular news as well. KU Volleyball plays tonight at 7 and football plays UFC tomorrow, so make sure to tune into those. Thank you for sticking around, and we'll see you next time on Run It Back.